Before we prepare for our meditation, I'd like to introduce our guest speaker for today, Reverend Charline Manuel. Charline is an ordained Unity minister, currently serving as CEO of One Accord Strategies Incorporated, a nonprofit organization working to empower faith-based boards with effective governance and compassionate leadership strategies for a more peaceful world, and we could use that. She serves as an adjunct faculty member of Unity Urban Ministerial School. She's a member of the Unity World Headquarters Board of Directors at Unity Village, Missouri. She served as a senior minister for 22 years at Unity Center of Miami in Miami, Florida. Author of 6 books including Pray Up Your Life, The Metaphysics of Shoes, and children's book, Do Puppies Pray? Charline is one of the workshop presenters at the Parliament of World Religions in Toronto, Canada in November of this year, teaching on the subject of inclusive leadership for religious and spiritual leaders. Charline has 2 adult children and 2 grandchildren and currently resides in her home in Columbia, Maryland. For our meditation and message today, let us give a warm Unity welcome to Reverend Charline Manuel.
Ooh, have mercy. Can we talk? I gotta just tell y'all something. It is good to be someplace where people know how to do serious praise music. I grew up in the Baptist church, back in Detroit, mind you. And I gotta tell you, there's a part of me wanted to jump up and start shouting and dancing down this aisle, but I know we don't do that in Unity. I was trying to restrain myself. And listen, y'all need to warn a sister from Detroit when you're gonna pull out Retha. I mean, I went back to the neighborhood listening to that music, and it was hard for me to leave. Man, thank y'all so much. Thank you so much for great music. Wow. Woo, I almost don't want to talk, but of course I'm going to do it anyway. But I almost just want to sing some more and clap our hands and stomp our feet, because that's the joy of the Lord expressing in and through us, yes? Woo. Music can reach those places where words alone cannot. Music has a way of getting down into your bones. Even people that don't like music and who are not really outgoing people, when you hear a good piece of music, you still got to at least pat your feet. You know, you got to at least pat your feet. You find yourself moving and don't know why you're moving because the music is just kind of in you. Whew, Lord have mercy. Let me just have a moment here. Yeah, I grew up in Detroit, and wow, it was a phenomenal thing to watch the short funeral. Because y'all don't know, back in the day, that's how church was in Detroit. That's really how church was up. Let me just get back to my message here. I done went back to Detroit, and it's hard to get back to where I am. It just has that kind of effect on you. So I'm excited to be with you this morning, plus the music, and thank you so much for the wonderful team here at Unity of Washington, D.C., your devoted team of people who come together on a Sunday morning to make all this here for each one of us to enjoy and to experience the presence and power of God that we are. Thank you so much. And I'm honored to be here. I was here several months ago, and if you were here, I just told you a story. I'm not going to tell the whole story of my how I met Reverend Sylvia some 30, okay, a long time ago when I was 2. And when she was teaching at the Unity Village, and she was my very first instructor. And so it is an honor to stand in the pulpit where her church is and to speak to her congregation. And the fact that she trusts me enough to do that is certainly an honor. And she is truly one of Unity's finest. And I pray y'all know that. I pray you know that. I gotta tell you, I do teach, and I probably shouldn't say this because I know this is being recorded, but maybe we can edit this part out. But I teach ministerial candidates, and I gotta tell you, they don't make them like Reverend Sylvia anymore. Fine, high caliber, grounded in truth, man. If you want to hear some truth, that's the person you want to talk to. So I'm honored. Anyway, I'm honored to be here today, so I guess I better go ahead and get my 45-minute talk out of the way. So I told y'all I was from Detroit. We had church all day long. So I'm here today, and let me just ask a question. Have you ever, taken the time to just wonder, what it would be like for you to reach your next level of extraordinary? Everybody has their own idea and ideals, maybe requirements, for what living an extraordinary life would be like. For some of us, it would be having high quality, harmonious, loving relationships with family. Maybe a large array of friends, and not just on Facebook, like real live people. Who does that anymore? I don't know. Maybe it's success in our career. Maybe it's financial independence. Maybe it's perfect health. Maybe it's some project that we really feel called to do in our life experience. But each one of us has our own individual idea of what an extraordinary life would look like. In fact, by show of hands, may I see those of you who have actually given thought to what extraordinary would look like for you in your life? May I see your hands? Great. Some of y'all will be staying after church. I need to talk to y'all if y'all didn't raise your hand. But with life and all of the ups and downs that we experience in life, how many of you, by show of hands, still believe that it's worth it to at least go for an extraordinary life? To at least try? To at least get up in the morning and say, I don't even know how to make this happen, but I'm going to step out of bed and get after it. Just try it. See, there are many paths to living an extraordinary life. Today, I want to talk to you about the path of extraordinary living that centers around prayer and its subsequent opportunity. This is a 2-part series. I'm going to be here next week, so please come back. My feelings are going to be hurt if you don't. Because you know how some people are, something happens, they think it's all about them. See, I'll be thinking that. I'll be thinking it's all about me if you don't come back next week. I admit it. I'm a Sagittarian, so that's what we do. Any other Sagittarians here? Okay, you feel me, right? Okay, yeah. So the very idea of leading an extraordinary life, the path that I want to talk to you about today is by way of prayer. The title of our message and 2-part series is Prayed Up and Ready to Grow. Today, we're going to talk about the prayed up part. Come back next week for more. But it's apropos that we talk about being prayed up since this week is our Unity Worldwide World Day of Prayer. So I got to ask another question. How many of you have already planned to be a part of, in some way, praying, joining your consciousness with people around the world so that blessings can be experienced, lives can be changed, healings can take place, prosperity can be elevated. Come on, raise your hand, people. Raise your hand. A part of it in some way. Maybe you can't come here, but wherever you are, you can hold a thought of prayer. Yes? Yes. Say yes, amen. Yeah, so today I want to talk about this part of being prayed up, and I introduce the subject by way of sharing a story from Adam Smashing Power of Mind, written by our co-founder, Charles Fillmore. And the story is actually where I derived the title for one of my books, which is Pray Up Your Life. But the story goes like this, and I'm telling this, Charles Fillmore would never tell this story the way I'm about to tell it, but it's taken from his story. Can y'all just nod your head like that? Say, yeah, because I'm a storyteller. I just make up stuff sometimes. That kind of storyteller. I think it has something to do with being raised in Detroit, though. I'm just saying. So the story goes like this. You know, two little boys, Johnny and little Billy, they're outside and they're playing and they have on their Sunday best, and their mom has said, look, you guys can go out and play for a little bit while we're getting ready for church, but don't get your clothes messed up because we've got to go to church. So these two little boys, and they're energetic and they're playing tag and all the kinds of things that little kids do sometimes, and they're playing, and then they notice the tree far off in the distance and they decide to climb the tree. And one of the boys says, I don't think we should because, you know, we might mess up our clothes. Nah, no problem. So they climb up the tree and they climb higher and higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. And then they decide to take a little rest. So they rest on one of the branches near the top. This is called being out on a limb. How many of you know the place? No, let me see a show of hands. How many of you know the place? Okay. So here they're out on a limb and they're starting to talk, but then of course the branch starts to give way. And before you know it, both boys come tumbling down. And little Johnny, he jumps up right away and he brushes off his clothes and he's good to go. But then little Billy, he said, oh, I hurt my leg, I hurt my arm, and his clothes are all torn. His lip is bleeding down on his beautiful white shirt. There's a hole in the knee of his pants now. He goes, oh, my mom is going to kill me. And then he looks at little Johnny and he says, well, hey, wait a minute. Why ain't you hurt? And then, of course, Johnny said, well, I prayed. He says, you did not. He says, I was up there with you. You didn't pray. He said, yes, I did. I prayed. He says, hello, I was sitting right next to you. There's no way. And then little Johnny said, I prayed before I left my house. See, I was already prayed up. So I love that story because it tells us, it indicates how some of us, probably all of us, fit in one camp or the other, approach life and life circumstances. See, on the one hand, some of us, probably not y'all here today, some of us live life on a crisis management format. See, something happens, and then we want to pray. Y'all know people like that. Now, where they at any other day of the week, you can't find them. But when something happens, here they come. Will you pray with me? Getting on the phone, I need you to pray with me. So and so and so and so and so happened. See, after the fact, then they decide to pray. And what happens is that is what I call crisis management, handling of our life and our affairs. It's crisis management prayer. We find ourselves in circumstances one after another, after another, after another, and then we want to contact the divine fixer. Our prayers actually sound like we're praying to some God. Oh, God, please fix this because I done messed up again. Or somebody else, the drama that we give to it. Those crisis management prayers often sound like, listen, and it sounds like I'm against crisis management prayer. But sometimes crisis management prayer sounds like, oh, God, I need help. Y'all know, how many of you know that prayer? Come on. Yeah, I know y'all do. Now, the thing about it is you don't want to get stuck there. But there may be occasion that you need to kind of just, for a minute, own that this is a tough situation that we face. But you don't want to live there. Some people live there. The other part of it is, the other way is what I call a way of looking at life so that we're proactive. We get in front of things like little Johnny in the story. Just prays up for the day and goes out there and then has something to help navigate whatever happens, whatever experiences come up. You've got a navigation thing going on there. You're not behind trying to fix it. You're in front of attempting to navigate and move and shift our way through things that other people say, well, why is that happening? Why is your life not falling apart when mine is? Because we're ahead of it. So those two ways of looking at things may help us to get some idea of what it's like, what we're talking about when we're talking about being prayed up, sort of having your spiritual batteries charged up, So I go to the scripture that makes me think about how it is that we get to the place of understanding the value, the purpose, the meaning, and the how-to of being prayed up. I think one of the great messages that Jesus left for us, and it's a very, very small few words here, and it probably doesn't mean as much to you until you really need them, is these words, and for a time in my life, they were so important for me to remember that I had it written on a 3x5 card, and it was to the point I had to carry the 3x5 card in my pocket. You didn't hear me. You're like, what is that? Aren't you curious? Some of y'all are, the rest of y'all ain't. Aren't you curious? Thank you so much. So here's what it says, and I have it in my Bible here, but I know it so well, and I want to share that part with you, but I'm not going to leave you there. We're going to go the step beyond, but here are the words. Jesus says in the 6th chapter of Matthew, verse 25, he starts out that verse by saying, do not worry about your life. Hello? How many of you could use that advice today? How many of you are going to share it with somebody else? Yeah. Do not worry about your life. Tell somebody near you, around you. If nobody's near, just shout it out. Do not worry about your life. And I like knowing that that is actually written in the scripture, because I have had people to say to me at various times and whatever I'm going through and growing through, say, oh, don't worry, you'll be fine. And I just want to smack them. I'm like, are you seriously kidding me right now? Did you not hear what I just told you I'm going through? Hello? Some of y'all feel like that and some of y'all don't, right? Yeah. Do not worry about your life, he says. But what I love about reading scripture and what I love about reading the teachings of Jesus as we understand them is Jesus didn't just leave us there. He didn't just give us a little pat on the shoulder and says, okay, don't worry about your life. Well, then what should I be doing? Hello? That's my next thing. It's like, if I'm not supposed to be worrying, what should I be doing? And so in that same chapter, to close out that chapter, we get very clear instructions that are about, well, let me just read it to you, and then you'll see what I'm saying. It's in the same very chapter, several verses over. Jesus said, but you Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. Therefore, do not worry for tomorrow, because tomorrow will have its own to look after. Now, when I read that, he says, tomorrow is going to have its whole set of other things to deal with. Deal with this now. Put first things first. Isn't that good advice? First things first. Don't that make sense? Nod your head so I know you hear me. Some of y'all don't hear me. Should I speak louder? You want me to dance, sing? Do we need more music? What? I wouldn't be mad about the music, quite frankly. First things first. So do not worry about your life, but don't get it twisted. Get it right. Put the first things first. Before you go off on that worrying thing, he says, do what needs to be done first. And then the secondary things will take care of themselves. See, that's being prayed up first. And letting the things, the experiences that will come after that fall into place under that. So he says, seek first the kingdom of God. In other words, our direct connection with Spirit, taking the time to build up that inner resolve and strength and courage, the strength of our life in that song, Total Praise. Oh my God, to build that up. Man, you can't just hear a song like that and go like, oh, that was nice. Like, are you seriously kidding me right now? Let's dance, let's sing, let's shout. I think that's the song. Let's sing, let's dance. Okay, I can't sing that whole song because it's got some other words in it, but you get the thing. Y'all feel me, right? So this idea of being prayed up, it takes us to a place is, first of all, being prayed up is our best defense. Our best defense against the tough times that will surely come. And I'm not saying that to be negative. I'm not saying that to scare you, but this thing called life, I don't know how old you are, but if you're over 12, you've already figured out. Sometimes you're flowing and going, and sometimes not so much. Yes? There are ups and there are downs. But if you give up on the downs, you never get to see the grace and the glory and the beauty of being the ups. And the value of the ups prepares you for when you're down, you get to know this. Here's what you get to know. It ain't over. It ain't over. If at our worst moment we can just say, this is not it. This is not over. This is not over. So it's our best defense. Being prayed up, it gives us the opportunity to establish ourselves in routine and habit. One of the things that Unity says that we are a positive path for spiritual living. How we get into that is we have a routine, we have a practice. We have spiritual practices that we don't just do a hit and miss. Or when something goes wrong, then we decide, and it's great to have chaplains on Sunday, and it's great to have people to pray with us on Sunday. But God bless us, you don't want to have to be sitting up with the chaplain every single Sunday, do you? With a brand new issue. Now, chaplains ain't supposed to do this, and I know that y'all's won't, but sometimes in my church, I had a couple of chaplains who said, but Rev, this is the same person every Sunday, but they got a brand new issue. We can't reject them, but what can we do? You don't want the chaplains to start running from you, right? So some of this stuff says if we get prayed up, we get into that routine, because here's what happens with the routine. Here's what happens with the practice. Here's what happened with getting in the habit of making prayer a regular, consistent activity, a meeting with Spirit. We build up an inner resolve. Whoa, y'all didn't hear that. We build up an inner strength. Some people are so weak in their spiritual life. If you do like this, they'll fall over and go into crisis. But oh Lord, help me! And it's like all I did was, But it builds up that inner resolve, that inner strength, where we come to an awareness that we know that the presence and power of God is right where we are all the time. Now, here's the trick. Sometimes people think going into, being prayed up and living a very spiritual life and, joining the church and, serving here and there and in the choir and wherever we decide where we drive to serve. We think that all of a sudden everything in our life is going to be perfect always in every possible situation. We'll never have another problem to challenge us. Seriously, some people think that. And they find themselves very disappointed when they've, to their mind, they've done everything they're supposed to do. They tithe into the church. They come in on Sunday. I don't want to say sing in the choir because ain't no way you can sing in that choir and not be lifted up. So I usually use that in other churches. I can't even do that in your church. Y'all music is all that, so. But wherever we find our place to serve, and then something happens in our lives, we go like, oh, Lord, why is this happening to me? I'm such a good person. Why hasn't it happened to the other people? Other people don't go to church on Sunday. And why ain't their life messed up? Wouldn't that be fair, don't you think? But the people that don't go to church, that their life should just be a wreck. And because we come on Sunday, we should get all the goods, all the blessings. Yeah. Don't go like that. Don't go like that. Because what happens for those of us who are devoted to knowing who we are and whose we are, and practicing in communion and connection and community, building up that inner I am, we get stronger. We get stronger. And stuff will still happen, but here is the major difference. We know how to navigate our way through. We know how to we have the tools. We know how to navigate our way through. We probably all know somebody who had some experience and it devastated their lives. They never recovered. Yes? Yeah. But that's not us, you see. Because our desire is to be prayed up, and understanding that the more and more, the deeper and deeper that prayer life is, that while the outer appearance of us may appear to be this fragile body that we're wearing for a while, just for a while. See, it is no doubt in my mind that Retha wasn't here this morning. No doubt in my mind. Through the music and the legacy that she left for all of us to enjoy. But see, that takes inner strength. And if you ever saw Aretha Franklin actually sing a song in person, oh, Lord Jesus. I need some water on that. Just because that's all y'all got up here. Now, I was thinking tea. What were y'all thinking? I may have to talk to Reverend Sylvia. Okay, here we go. But you know, you don't really need me to tell you all the benefits of being prayed up, because if we were in a workshop together in a time where we were just sitting together sharing, each one of you might have your own individual way of saying, yeah, I was prayed up and this is what happened for me. This is how I was able to get through a really tough time in my life. This is how I was able to help somebody help somebody. This is a way that I was able to be of service in such a way that I felt good about myself, being able to allow the Spirit of God to, as the song we sang this morning, use me, use me. But one of the things that I get excited about, and I have a tendency to get excited about some things, that I get excited about being prayed up, and that is this. That is the gift and the glory and the grace that occurs when we are in front of a blessing. You didn't hear me. When we are in front of a blessing, we're sort of charting the way. We're plotting the path for the blessing to follow. In other words, what happens when the blessings come that the universe is trying to deliver to us? Oh, we're ready. I think it's gotta be a tough thing when sometimes people pray and pray and pray and pray for stuff, then the thing shows up, and then they don't know what to do with it. I think that's what happens why so many people get divorces. Did I just say that out loud? If you really want to know, ask me after the service, and I'll tell you how I know. But that's what happens. You know, I cannot tell you how many people, they sit and pray like, oh, I really need somebody to love me. I really, my soulmate. I don't get the soulmate, and the marriage lasts 6 months. You wasn't ready. Hello. Wasn't prayed up for. You wasn't in front of the blessing. It's like this, and this always just trips me out. I know I got to close now. This trips me out, though. Here it is. You ever watch those shows on TV where somebody wins the lottery? $45 million. 3 years later, they broke. Who does that? Seriously, though. I mean, doesn't that make you kind of want to scratch your head at least? Like, are you kidding me right now? But that's because they weren't ahead of the blessing. They were in back of the blessing trying to push it up. It's a harder haul. But to be in front of the blessings, you get the chance to be ready. So when the blessing shows up, you say, come on in. Have a seat. I've been waiting for you. So glad you're here. You want a drink of water? Yeah, I got to definitely talk to Reverend Sylvia about y'all. So this idea of being prayed up, as I close today, is this idea of being prayed up. It actually puts us on a path, a trajectory toward excellence and extraordinary living. It puts us on the path. But there's more. Being on the path is a big part of it, but that ain't all. That ain't all. There's more. And that's where we're going next week. I know. That's where we're going next week. We're going to the place of what happens after you're all prayed up. Because at that moment, if we're not in tune with, mindful of what is ours to do to stay on that path, to move it to extraordinary level, then we find ourselves, and this is a word y'all might not know unless you came from the Baptist church, find ourselves backsliding. Do y'all know that word? Boy, they used to talk about that in that church I grew up in Detroit a whole lot. I didn't understand what it meant till I got to be 21. Yeah. Let me have another drink of water on that one. So next week we talk about prayed up and what comes after. Because my prayer is for you is that we are on this path of living an extraordinary life. You know, I read a little story about that says something like, life is not to just be sort of live from day to day, trying to make it through a job and get through to retirement. Maybe you fall in love, have a couple of kids, house, whatever else, the kinds of things we consume our time and energy with. But life should take us to a point at the very end of that life where we just sort of skid in sideways, all used up. Every dream just overflowing from our being, divine ideas popping from us and off us and through us, sliding in such a way, our hair all messed up, maybe even a few bruises, and sliding in sideways and going, baby, that was quite a ride. God bless you. See you next week.